Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everybody. How are you today?
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, everybody. I accidentally turned my phone up. My bad. Excuse me. We're going to see how I can do. Hey, Piper. Excuse me. Okay, this may not be a wise decision. Excuse me. Okay, up until 5 minutes ago, my voice was doing very well. I wasn't coughing. I was doing great. But then I've also been in the house for hours alone, so yeah, that's probably why. So, how are you today, Piper? I haven't seen you today. Hello, hello. It's good to see you. Maybe we should just chat a little bit. You doing good? Good. Glad. I don't know. I'm hmm. I don't know whether my voice is gonna make it or not, but I guess we'll just try, huh? Anybody else gonna come in? We'll see, huh? So how's everything going? I am trying to stay warm. Oh, I bet. See, it's funny because I'm trying to stay warm and I'm nowhere near as cold as you are, but I don't like being cold at all. So, yeah. You guys got to give our winter back. You guys just don't want our winter. Everybody back east and down south. All these poor people having, a crazy winter. Uh, I'm just sitting here jabbering for a few minutes, see if anybody else wants to come in. Hey, Snake. Hello, hello. Yeah, right? I don't think you guys would argue too much about giving it back, would you, Piper? There's our snaky snake. Who isn't a snake. She's more like I don't know, fuzzy little bunny. That's what you should name yourself. Fuzzy little bunny. No, I'm just kidding. That doesn't seem like you at all, Snake. Not that you seem like a snaky type person, but you're also not a fuzzy little bunny. Excuse me. We'll see how long my voice lasts. That's crazy. It was doing so well when I wasn't opening my mouth and talking because there was nobody else here except the dog. And I talked to him, but he doesn't talk back, so the conversations are very short. So today I have the story of Andrea Yates, who is probably the most infamous family annihilator mom in the world. It's which is really not a natural thing at all in my mind. I don't understand there has to be something way beyond wrong. You know what I mean? Oh, you're losing your voice now? I'm sorry. Yeah, I went to the doctor and she gave me 4 medications so that I could get my voice back and get rid of my ear infection and everything. So, hey, country girl. Hello, hello. It's good to see you. Hi, sweetie. Hey, Teresa. Oh, Teresa, I need to talk to you and hopefully Nikki both later, if possible. Hello, Daniel. Oh, I'm feeling a lot better. I started on medications on Wednesday and I feel so much better. So much better. So. Oh, it's good to see everybody. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So, yeah. I am feeling a lot better, country girl. I really am. I really, really am. This is the first cold I've had since I quit smoking, and I was hoping that it was going to be a lot better, but it didn't turn out that way. Still went straight to my lungs, but only quit smoking a few months ago, so that was to be expected, I guess. Alrighty, so Andrea Yates. I hope wonder if everybody's heard of her or not. Like I say, she's probably the most infamous mom family annihilator. It's crazy. But so it seems that nearly everyone in the United States and even around the world has heard of Andrea Yates. She's gone down in infamy for murdering her children, taking the time to drown each one in a bathtub before laying them on her bed, looking as though they were asleep. Her case became one of the most infamous cases of a mother killing her kids, and she became the target of hate letters, death threats, and much more. For years, people wondered how she could do such a thing. After all, what mother would carry babies within them for 9 months, raise them into children or young adults, and then take their lives away? These are questions that will probably never have a satisfactory answer, but people still want to know why. I see, for a mom to do that with 5 kids, I know there's got to be more. There's got to be more wrong than just simply she's tired or something, And her story is one of the paramount stories of what they used to call the baby blues and postpartum depression. So, yes, it was awful, Snake. It really was. And it's been over 20 years now. And they've still, people still haven't learned. It's really, really different and very, very difficult for people's minds to wrap around a mom, Hey, Fancy. So Andrea Yates was born the youngest of 5 children in a small town in Texas. Her parents doted on her, and she soon excelled in her school career. She was an honor student, part of the swim team, and graduated valedictorian of her class. After high school, she got her degree in nursing and worked in the Anderson Cancer Center, where she received rave reviews about her work. Throughout her late teen years and into her early childhood, Yates would often complain of depression. She told several friends that she was contemplating suicide. Now, that's a person that you really need to keep an eye on, right? Each time they talked her out of it, and that was assumed to be the end of the discussion. No one realized how deeply Yates felt her depression. Self-responsibility, but at the same time, you kind of do have to wonder why people around her didn't offer a little bit more. You know what I mean? While Andrea worked on at the cancer center, she met Russell Rusty Yates. The two instantly connected, and they were married in April 1993. Rusty was very religious and wanted as many children as God would allow. Andrea, who loved her new husband, agreed. The couple welcomed their first child, Noah, in 1994. By the time they had their fourth son in 1999, Andrea was showing deep signs of depression. Depressive state. Back then, people didn't quite understand what Andrea was feeling, but now, most medical experts agree it was a severe case of postpartum depression, where a mother feels disconnected after giving birth to a child and having thoughts of either harming the child or herself. Throughout the summer of 1999, Andrea tried to kill herself 3 times. 3 times. That is bad. That is so bad. She was often caught just rocking and chewing on herself. Sometimes she would perform self-mutilation. These episodes resulted in Yates being hospitalized. She saw several psychiatrists, each of whom told the couple that it would be extremely dangerous for Yates to have any more children. So, the first thing you should do, excuse me, sorry, is take doctor's advice and, keep her safe and keep her stable. Not have any more children right now. Or at all. Still, she was put on medication and things seemed to be getting a little better. Shortly after she was discharged from the hospital, Yates became pregnant with her 5th child. Due to the pregnancy, of course, she stopped taking her medication, but everything seemed to be going well even after the birth. That is, of course, until the death of Andrea's father in March of 2001. This event caused Andrea to go into a tailspin. She mutilated her own body, stopped feeding her kids, and entered into a catatonic state. Once again, Andrea was hospitalized. She was seen by a doctor, treated, and released. The doctor warned Rusty not to leave Andrea alone with the children. On June 20th, 2001, Rusty had to leave to go to work, but his mother was due to arrive to help Andrea within the hour. In that 1 hour of time, 1 hour, Andrea Yates saw her opportunity and she took it. She drew a bath and drowned 3 of her boys, John, Paul, and Luke. Once they were dead, she carefully laid them on her bed. She then took the baby, Mary, into the tub and drowned her as well. Noah came in during this and tried to run away. However, Andrea caught him and drowned him too. She left Noah in the tub with Mary in his arms. Once she had finished killing the children, Andrea Yates called the police. After that, she called Rusty, only saying, "It's time," over and over again on the phone. Rusty raced home, but by then it was too late. All 5 of his children were dead. Since Andrea Yates had essentially turned herself in, the question of guilt didn't need to be determined. During the first trial, however, the defense tried to get her found not guilty by reason of insanity. At the time, Texas had strict rules for what qualified as insanity, and Andrea didn't fit that description. It's insane, isn't it? Wow. Instead, the jury found her guilty on all counts and sentenced her to life in prison. She would have been eligible for parole in 40 years. 40 years. Taking, oh gosh. It never ceases to amaze me how much, or I should say how little, a child's life means to us in this country. During appeal, however, Andrea's mental state came into question again. Rusty argued that it was not her fault that she killed the children. If anyone, it was her doctor's fault for not monitoring her more closely and providing her with the correct medication. Well, maybe the husband who should have been more careful with his wife and his children, there's always that. Other people argued that it was Rusty's fault because he knew it was dangerous for Andrea to have more children and he pressured her to do it anyway, as I just said. In 2005, a key witness recanted his testimony, causing the courts to overturn Andrea's conviction. She was released on bail, provided she booked into a mental health institute, which she did. Then in 2006, a new jury found Andrea Yates not guilty by reason of insanity. She was ordered yet again to go to a mental health institution, a low-security one. Today, Andrea Yates still resides in the mental hospital. Her recent petition to attend off-campus church services was denied. So if there's any good that can come from the murder of Andrea Yates's children and the subsequent trial, it's that for the first time, postpartum depression and psychosis were brought to the forefront of people's minds. It wasn't something to be swept under the table because it was a real disease with potentially dangerous and tragic consequences. Due to this case, more and more doctors are asking new moms how they feel and trying to assess if they can handle being at home with their new babies. Mothers are no longer embarrassed to speak up and get the help they may desperately need. So, yeah. Andrea Yates kind of became the unintentional spokeswoman for postpartum psychosis and postpartum depression. So it's very, very sad. Very, very sad that, so many things in this country are recognized as being real, but things like, depression and suicidal tendencies and thoughts and, all of these different forms of mental illness, not even mental illness, but just mental unwellness, if you will. We can't see them as real, or we don't see them as being capable of doing the kind of damage that they do. So, yeah. My throat calmed down. There was another case in Colorado of a mother who, I don't remember how she killed her kids, but she had several kids, and she did, you know, she did that with her own kids, and she was given a mental health break as well in between and so forth, supposedly. And then, but they just don't take it seriously enough. People in this country just don't take it seriously enough, So that's the case of Andrea Yates. That was a very, very short one. And then we have another one that everyone's going to recognize. Scott Peterson. Deadly divorces. You're probably all very familiar with the case of Scott and Lacey Peterson. I'm very sure of it, but there's also a big drive right now to reevaluate his case and so forth, because apparently people don't think he actually is the one who killed her and their baby. So perhaps one of the most infamous cases in more recent history is the murder of Lacey Peterson. Her husband, Scott Peterson, was convicted of her murder in 2004. Hey, Hondo. It's going pretty good. How about you, sweetie? At the time of her death, Lacey was pregnant with their child. The story caught the attention of the United States and even parts of the world as it unfolded. It's been said the Scott Peterson trial surpassed the number of viewers who watched the O.J. Simpson trial. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like 20 years later, 30 years later, something like that. So, yeah. Scott Peterson was the average all-American boy as he grew up. He was athletic and popular. He liked to fish, hunt, and golf. As a teenager, he tried to perfect his golf game because he wanted to try to get a scholarship. When that didn't pan out, however, he ended up at a junior college where he met Lacey. Good. I'm so glad you're doing well. Good to see you, Hondo. Good to see ya. Lacey grew up happy and outgoing. Like Scott, she also had a lot of friends growing up. As soon as she met Scott, however, she was infatuated. She raised home and told her parents she had met the man she planned to marry. Scott, for his part, was a little more reserved. He had recently broken up with someone and was trying to win her back when he met Lacey. It took a little convincing, but Lacey was able to turn his head, and the two got married in 1997. Scott was 26 years old. Who got away with murdering his wife with money? Yeah, Scott Peterson. See, that's the thing. A lot of people are saying he didn't do it, so he deserves a new trial now. But, I mean, if they can prove he did it, I mean, It didn't take Scott long to become bored in his marriage to Lacey. See, that's what I don't get. Women will push and push and push, or men will push and push and push to marry someone, and then not until afterward realize, oh, wait, he didn't love me enough. That's why I had to push and push and push and push and push. Within a year after they married, Scott began to date a young woman named Janet, only 20 years old. Holy criminy. And he was 26 when they got married. So he was 27 and she was 20. I mean, not the 7 years as adults is that, but considering that he was, married. For Scott, Janet was a breath of fresh air because she was young, vibrant, bubbly, and she seemed to be really into Scott. A huge plus for him. In turn, Scott tried to buy Janet's affections by showering her with candy, flowers, and jewelry. If OJ didn't have the money he had to get the dream team, yeah, he would have gone to prison. Yep. I totally agree, Honda. Completely agree. And the riots were just, yep. It was horrible. It all came to a head one night when Janet wanted to surprise Scott in the middle of the night. She went over to where he lived with Lacey. Oh, crap. And a few roommates and crept into his room. When she got there, however, she was surprised to find Lacey in bed with him. Scott was forced to confess his marriage. Well, yeah, you're laying in bed with your wife. I would think that would be the end point of that attempt to lie. I mean, holy. Scott was forced to confess his marriage, which ended the relationship with Janet. Yeah. Lacey, while understandably upset, chose to forgive Scott for his indiscretion. This woman is trying to climb into your bed, lady. There is no forgiveness for that. Excuse me. For a while, things seemed to be on track for Scott and Lacey. They worked together doing odd jobs, buying a house, and starting their life together. Lacey worked with kids and wanted to have her own, but Scott was reluctant to the idea. In 2002, however, Lacey became pregnant with their first child, a boy to be named Connor. While Lacey was thrilled to become a mom, Scott was extremely reserved. He told various family members he had hoped Lacey would be infertile, and he was not looking forward to the responsibility of a child. Holy cow. Yeah, that's definitely a red flag, right? Many people brushed Scott off, assuming he would change his tune when he met Connor for the first time. Scott, deciding the pressure was too much, started seeing Amber Fry behind Lacey's back. We all know that Amber Fry turned out to be probably the best person to be involved in that whole thing. Bless her heart. Much like Janet, Scott pulled out all the stops for Amber. He took her to the fine restaurants and bought her extravagant gifts. Amber never knew Scott was married, so to her, it felt like a match made in heaven. Don't cheat. Just don't cheat. At some point near Christmas, with Lacey about 7 months pregnant, friends of Amber grew suspicious of Scott. They confronted him about his marriage, which Scott denied over and over. He told them he had lost his wife, leaving them to assume she had died. Wow. In the weeks before Lacey's disappearance, Scott began to act oddly. He took out a life insurance policy in her name, convinced Lacey to sell some of her jewelry, bought a boat, and bought 4 fake diplomas. Fake diplomas? I never knew about that part. In some ways, it would seem as though Scott was in the midst of a midlife crisis. Investigators would later claim, however, this was Scott's way of trying to start his new life, one that would impress Amber and not include Lacey. On the morning of Christmas Eve, Scott and Lacey's dog was found walking by itself down the road. The neighbor who discovered it simply returned it to the yard. Around the same time, Scott placed a phone call to Lacey asking her to pick up a last-minute Christmas present, leaving the message on her voicemail. Scott then went fishing. When he returned home, he called Lacey's mother and asked if she had seen Lacey. Sharon Roca, Lacey's mother, immediately called the police to report her daughter missing, and an investigation was launched. Why didn't he? I've never understood why he didn't call the police himself if he didn't do it. You're not going to convince me very easily that Scott Peterson didn't kill his wife and child. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to be that easily convinced of this one. Scott, while cooperative, showed very little emotion about this whole thing, raising the cops' suspicions. As more time went on, police put together a bit of a timeline. Although it can never be definitely proven, it is their best hypothesis as to what happened to Lacey. Police believed Scott killed Lacey in the evening of December 23rd. The next morning, he let the dog loose to make it seem like Lacey had been abducted while out on a walk. He then staged the phone call and the fishing trip, and then came back home and called Lacey's mother. Police theorized by the time Scott alerted Lacey's mother, Lacey had been dead anywhere from 18 to 24 hours. Oh, you saw me on Rumble? Debbie J is over in Bombshells. You're good. You're good, Honda. You're absolutely fine. Debbie J is over in Bombshells. Bombshell unblocked all these people and so forth, and Debbie J was so happy and thanked her for being unblocked. And I'm like, this is a person I sincerely believed. I know. That's the thing, Hondo. That's such a shocker. I can't believe that Debbie J has fallen that far for Flava's bullshit. So, yeah, that's what and me saying I'm done meant, now I've seen it all kind of thing. I can't believe this person of all people. You know what I mean? I am disappointed too. I'm really disappointed. That is so sad. Over time, the police became increasingly suspicious of Scott Peterson. There were discrepancies in his statements, and he couldn't provide an exact timeline of his whereabouts for those crucial 24 hours. Despite this, the police did not even have enough information to arrest Scott. Luckily, Amber Fry was willing to help the police in any way she could. I loved her. I do. I love Debbie J. I do. Excuse me. That is crazy. Now you understand why I was so upset at Hondo. Because, of all people, Debbie J, she's not an idiot. She's not that person. She taped their phone calls and gave the investigators a lot of information. During one crucial phone conversation, Scott finally admitted that he had been married to Lacey and that she was indeed missing. As they continued talking, Scott insinuated perhaps Amber had something to do with Lacey's disappearance. Maybe Amber? Amber? Really? No. Yeah. That's why I was upset, Hondo. Because Debbie and I became very good friends. We texted back and forth and everything. And now I can't even bring myself to... I don't know. It's just so sad. At that point, Amber was done with Scott, and she held a press conference where she stated she had never known Scott was married and she was sorry for Lacey and her family. It was pretty clear even Amber suspected Scott of murdering his wife. It's all right, Snake. It's all right. It's just watching the people who fall for this shit, you know? It's just so disappointing because you know these people are smart. You know these people are good people. That's okay. Thank you, Hondo. Thank you, Snake. Really. I appreciate you guys. But one good friend is worth everything. 30 people who turn out not to be the kind of people you thought they were as friends are worth nothing. You know, I'm sorry, but the ones who do are so few and far between. Really, Hondo, it's true. In April of 2003, a hiker came across the body of a male fetus. The next day, the remains of Lacey Peterson were found washed ashore just 5 miles from where Scott Peterson had said he went fishing. Only Lacey's torso remained. Her head, hands, and feet were not recovered. Police wasted no time in arresting Scott and formally charging him with murder. During the trial, defense attorneys for Scott Peterson tried to argue Scott was being framed by a burglar or other random abductor. Cool, Snake. Hey, sweetie. Hello, hello. Love you too. In case anybody's wondering, that's my husband. So, not my boyfriend who I'm going to murder my husband for or anything like that. Just so that, They claimed there was no evidence to tie Scott to the murder, and there was no motive. They also tried to state the baby had been born alive and died after he left the womb, making Scott not responsible for his death either. Oh my God, you've got to be people so stupid. Prosecutors, however, had their secret weapon. Amber Fry came to testify against Scott, telling all about their affair and how Scott had acted after Lacey's disappearance. They claimed by putting all of the pieces of this mystery together, there was no way anyone other than Scott had killed Lacey. The jurors only needed 7 hours to come back with a guilty verdict. Scott got sentenced to death. Lacey's parents had filed a wrongful death lawsuit, but ultimately dropped it. Scott still sits on death row today, and he is appealing his conviction. You pulled something in your shoulder at work, so I may be hella cranky for a while. Aw, bless your heart. I'm sorry. I don't like pain. Hello, Piper. Okay, Brian, I love you. Promise not to kill you for anybody else. Have a good one. No, I just, people, I wish they surprised me still. Nothing some ibuprofen won't fix. Okay, good. Good. So, yeah, the Peterson case and the Yates case, those two are so polar opposite to me. He was trying to get rid of her. She was trying to figure some way of surviving. Her brain just didn't know how to go about it. I seriously believe that. You're good, Piper. You're absolutely fine. So, yeah. Um, my trust level on this platform is 0 with anyone I've seen community come and go over backstabbing BS. I know, right? I understand that, Hondo. I truly do. I, you know, I am the kind of friend who, if I believe in you, even if I don't believe in everything that you do and we disagree on things and so forth, I'm still going to be there for you. There are certain things that will drive me away, but they're pretty serious things. And I'm also the person who will talk to you and tell you exactly what is going on and what I'm thinking and what I'm taking away from the situation and things like that. But I'm not the type of person to stab somebody in the back. I don't understand that. I don't. I don't. I will tell you, I disagree with you. I will tell you flat out, oh, no, I think that's the wrong thing to do. But I'm not going to turn around and just do something just to, unless, of course, you have stabbed me in the back, and then I, simply don't care. But that's been one person on here, 2 people, 3 people. I don't know. There have been some people. But I mean, just choosing different friends is not enough for me to just completely turn my back on you. I still love WJ. I still hope that she eventually learns differently. That isn't going to change. But yeah. It was a shock. It was such a shock to see her over there. Still is. It's a little on the depressing side. You know what I mean? Because WJ is such an amazing person. Well, that is 2 stories out of our book. One about a mom who needed more help and needed someone to take care of her by taking her out of the situation, at least temporarily, and helping her individually. And the other one about a man who just didn't give a shit. Absolutely, Hondo. Enabling scammers will get you nowhere on here. That is for sure. It'll get you nowhere in life real quick, too. But so, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you very, very much. I truly do. You guys are really amazing people and true friends. Exactly, Hondo, except to make others mistrust you and have nothing to do with you. Absolutely. I agree with you. Well, everyone have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a great night. We'll see you later in Jenny's, but I wanted to read since my voice was feeling pretty good today. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being my friends, because you guys are amazing. Take care of yourselves. I love you.